Alrighty, we are live and welcome everybody to the 51st episode of Coaster Time, hosted by me, Carrick from Coaster Hour. And as always, we will be doing many different segments, and if you want to know exactly what is happening in this stream, you can check out the itinerary in the description. But with me today is Micah from North Star Coasters, who is from the state of Minnesota and has Valley Fair to call as his home park. So, Micah, if you could introduce yourself, that would be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. So, hi, like you said, my name is Micah. I am the owner and person who runs North Star Coasters on YouTube. Valley Fair is indeed my home park. It's very cold here right now, so I haven't really been thinking about Valley Fair very much, but I'm super excited to get back there this summer. And yeah, you can find me on Instagram at just North Star Coasters, all lowercase, or just North Star Coasters here on YouTube works fine as well. So thank you for having me on this live stream. I've always wanted to be on one of these, so it's a thrill to be here today.
Absolutely. And for those of you watching, I will make sure to check if the audio is good. If it is good, then we should be able to get right into our first segment, which is the news, which I mentioned last week. Won't be an every time segment, and I have changed the way that we're going to do it moving forward. So for today's episode, we're basically going to have like three big sort of news topics, or three just topics that we're focusing on that have happened within the last sort of month or so. So with that being said, the first of which will be the King's Dominion B&M Wing Coaster leak that we had. So if you haven't seen it yet, King's Dominion 2025 B&M launch wing coaster plan and basic layout has kind of been leaked as of because of King's Dominion fans. There's also a rendering on YouTube of like a prediction of the layout based off the rendering, but basic information: this is going to be replacing Volcano and will be in the Jungle Expedition area. It's estimated to have 5 inversions, including a cutback, dive loop, 2 corkscrews, and an inline twist. Those are estimated. And then it'll, of course, also have a launch and an airtime hill. So, Micah, I don't know how much you've been able to look into this one, but what are your thoughts on this ride as a potential fit for King's Dominion and just on the ride overall?
Okay, so first off, I think this is like the most perfect fit you could ever give to King's Dominion, because not only do the rumors say they might have a launch, that obviously has ties to Volcano, but just, I don't know, I think King's Dominion has got a little unlucky in the past and when Cedar Fair's on the park, because they haven't really gotten their own B&M coaster, because Dominator was from Java Lake. So this is their first ever original layout for a B&M, and I think it's going to be one of the best wing coasters that we've seen so far. I haven't been on Thunderbird yet, but I've heard from a lot of people that that's one of the better wing coasters out there. So I am definitely stoked for this one.
For sure. And having done Thunderbird, I know, I guess I have the unpopular opinion that it's not my favorite wing coaster I've ever done, but I still think it is a very good coaster, and I definitely think for King's Dominion, especially considering what it was replacing, Volcano the Blast Coaster, it won't quite be a one-of-a-kind coaster, but a launch wing coaster is still pretty rare, so I think that's nice. And as you said, this is the first original B&M layout and coaster for King's Dominion since the previous, as you said, Dominator was relocated, which isn't something I had even thought about, but that's kind of crazy considering like the other Paramount parks, how much they've spent on B&M and gotten B&M coasters into their parks, and it's like King's Dominion is finally getting their first original one from, Cedar Fair, now Six Flags, but yeah, there you go. So that is pretty exciting.
I'm sure this was in the works for a few years, because I don't know if you remember a couple years ago, but there was the first rumor for King's Dominion getting a wing coaster was just a super small wing coaster that was rumored to be coming to King's Dominion, and then that didn't happen. So yeah, I think this has been on the table for a few years. I think they finally secured enough budget for it, so this is exciting.
For sure, and yeah, no, definitely had been on the table and in the works for several years. Very happy that, I mean, especially if that first sort of little leak of the little layout, that was pretty concerning as like the Volcano replacement, and now seeing this, it's like, okay, that's a lot better. That's a lot That's a very nice addition for the park, for the area, and to replace Volcano. So, assuming that this moves forward, which I imagine it will at this point, seems like plans are very far in depth at this point. Should be a great addition for the park.
Yes.
And then,
And okay, so you say you've been on Thunderbird, right? So how powerful was the launch, would you say? Because I know that mock launch is gonna be pretty weak. I have no idea how B&M does it. So do you have like a little
it has
baseline
some.
for that?
It does have. I mean, I've done a mock launch coaster with Manta, and I can definitely say it has a stronger launch than that. But I mean, that's comparing a family coaster to Thunderbird, so not the most fair of comparisons. But Thunderbird's launch, it does definitely have some kick and punch to it. I don't think it's like anything that is like insane. Like obviously, it's not to the level of some other launches that are out there that I've done, but it's definitely like a launch. You'll feel it. It has a punch to it. So
Okay.
I mean, it definitely adds a lot to the ride experience. And also, I mean, the layout afterwards is pretty different as well. So definitely a very different ride experience as compared to the other wing coasters I've done. So definitely will be good for being unique in that way too.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm just glad that Kingston Dominion finally got a substantial roller coaster because I don't know, like Timbili, it's just a 40 free spin. I think a lot of people were kind of disappointed with that, but in reality, it was just kind of a filler coaster. So it's really exciting that they finally got their actual new roller coaster. So a little bit jealous that because Valley Fair still hasn't gotten anything yet, but hopefully that changes.
I think, I mean, and but I think your time is coming pretty soon. So
Yeah, people are talking about it, dude. I'm ready for it, man.
for sure. Next, we'll move on to a coaster that you've ridden that closed at the end of last year, and that is Fire in the Hole at Silver Dollar City. Operated from 1972 to 2023, closed on December 30th. Obviously, it'll be replaced by a new coaster in a different building in Fireman's Landing by RMC this season. But of course, this is the original. It is no longer there. What were your thoughts on this ride and just it closing in general?
So I've been riding Fire in the Hole for the past 2 years. Because that's the first time I went to Solar City was about 2 years ago, and it actually had a surprisingly good like little pop of airtime in the back row on like one of the final dips. So that was kind of surprising. And also, I guess I can spoil it now because
It's gone.
now.
Yeah.
There's like a water section at the very end that was like supposed to be like super surprising, but in reality, it didn't get you wet really at all. It was kind of like, oh wow, there's water down here. But the ride was great. It was definitely you could definitely feel the history of the ride. You could tell that it had seen better days. A lot of the animatronics were just straight up non-functional, and it just looked a little bit tough. And some of the scenes for the animatronics also didn't really age the best. So it was classic. It was well loved, but I think Solar City made a really good decision to not just get rid of the ride, but to replace it with a more modern one that is going to be more reliable. Because that was the other thing about it too. I went to the Coaster Christmas Ace event this past year, and they were talking about how much of an upkeep work it was to keep Fire in the Hole operating. So RMC doing it definitely makes me hopeful that it's going to be a much more reliable ride. And I don't know, I'm excited to see all the new animatronics and effects with the new one. So, and the building for the new one is actually a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. When I was there, it was definitely sizably bigger than the one that Fire in the Hole used to be in. So it looks pretty cool.
For sure. And I mean, I've seen the pictures of the building, but I mean, I imagine being there, just the sheer size of it, I've heard is pretty crazy. I never got the opportunity to ride Fire in the Hole. I have not been to Silver Dollar City yet. I have ridden Blazing Fury at Dollywood, which is about the closest thing you can get without riding it, I suppose. I very much enjoyed that ride, but it also I think had some surprising drops, especially in the back row. But some similar things. It is a classic ride, but certain like it's not the most like technologically advanced or anything like that. Some of the animatronics have very limited movement, but I think for what it was, and I still very much enjoy it. I think those types of rides definitely still have a place, just because like you can tell they're like a true classic. They've been around for a while, but excited to see
Yeah.
what's next for Fire in the Hole. Actually, have you done? I believe you've been to Dollywood as well. Have you done Blazing Fury as well?
You see, I went to Dollywood, I think in 2021 and or 2022, I can't remember, but I remember I don't know why I didn't ride it, because the only reason why I would ride it was because all the rides shut down for rain, and I don't remember why exactly I decided not to ride Blazing Fury, because that was the only coaster open then. I just didn't ride it. I don't know. I just kind of forgot it was there, to be honest, and I just didn't remember until I rode Fire in the Hole. I'm just like, oh yeah, Blazing Fury exists. So I don't know. We'll have to write that one next time. But
For sure. Yeah, no, for sure. I can totally get it though. It's in the building for that one is really small. Like from the outside, it's very small. So it's kind of like if you're not looking for it, maybe you won't find it and whatnot. But Dollywood has so many good rides anyways, so makes sense for sure. And now Silver Dollar City is gonna get an updated Fire in the Hole, so
does that
that
mean that
obviously.
Dollywood might get an updated? Do you think Dollywood would get an updated Blazing Fury?
Uh, I, I, I have some questions on if they will. It's just the amount of. If it were, I think it's a. There were I had heard there were some reasons they had done it for this version of Fire in the Hole that I don't know if it would, or I said this version. Well, Fire in the Hole that I don't know if those reasons are as applicable to Blazing Fury. I'll kind of leave it at that in that
Fair
way. And then
enough.
also, it's such a huge investment that it's like I'm sure they would want to see how it does in terms of bringing people in and everything before doing something like that to Dollywood. But do I think it's something that's possible and could be in the pipeline? Absolutely. I think that's something that could be considered for the future. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion necessarily, but I definitely think it's possible.
All right.
But yep, that is Fire in the Hole. Rest in peace. And then we'll move on to Kentucky Kingdom. So if you saw on Reddit or certain coaster forums, there are expansion proposals for Kentucky Kingdom, which is awesome to see. We were just talking about a Hershend Park, but this is obviously a new Hershend Park. We had been kind of waiting for them to really give a significant investment to Kentucky Kingdom, and it appears that is on the way. So if you haven't seen it yet, basically there were some new surveys or leaked slides that showed 5 ideas for park expansions that could be done in the next few years. Not necessarily all of them would be done. In fact, it might just be one of these, or maybe one of these is done, but it's not exactly as shown, and maybe other things that are similar happen to the future. But the 5 different areas, just to kind of go through them real quickly, that they had listed. There was an area called Celebration Downs that included a new steeplechase coaster. Seemed to be from the concept art itself an S&S steeplechase coaster, which would make it the first one. But the picture of reference they used was a Zamperla Moto coaster, Pony Express, so it's unclear which one it would be. I would line more with the actual concept art, so I would assume it'd probably be an S&S steeplechase, along with an interactive dark ride and 3 re-themed attractions, including Scream Extreme. So if you know where this is in the park, it's in the first half. So that's one area, and that's themed to horses. You have the Farm, Fun, and Family area, which is a Kentucky agriculture-themed area, which would have 4 new rides, including a family coaster of some sort and an S&S Scream and Swing, plus 6 re-themed rides, including Lightning Run, so also in the first half of the park. There's a Fireman's Landing area. Sounds familiar.
Yep.
Um, that would be firefighter themed. That would include new rides, and it showed in the concept art a Chance Rides Aviator and a Zamperla Disco flat ride, along with the relocation of the Drop Tower Fearfall and 5 rethemed rides, including Mile High Falls and Storm Chaser. So it would be in the second half of the park, towards the back where Storm Chaser is. They also had Kentucky Grove, which was a new garden-themed family area with a new carousel, 3 rethemed rides, including Thunder Run, and the relocation of their pirate ship. And then they also had a retheme of Hurricane Bay into Lake Life, Kentucky, which would have a new slide complex and other water attractions. Like I said, these are all proposals. They could be massively changed. And realistically, in the near future, we'll probably only see like one of these or something similar to it happen soon. But obviously, it's still a look at what they're considering. So I guess I'll just ask if you have, if out of any of these proposals, I don't know how much you looked into the pictures or anything like that, or just the description, which one of these stands out, and what are your thoughts on Kentucky Kingdom finally potentially getting a new expansion?
Well, first, what I want to say is that I think this is really good. Like, just the idea of Kentucky Kingdom expanding like this and adding more themed areas really makes it feel more like a Hershend park to me. Because Hershend, like, they put theming as one of the top priorities. So I think this will kind of turn Kentucky Kingdom into a more of a themed, family-oriented park. Fireman's Landing definitely sticks out just because it sounds so familiar. I don't think it's going to be quite as good as like what Sildar City has, obviously, but I think if they do stuff really well, so I think it will turn out very nice. And a new slide complex is honestly a little underrated. I know many roller coaster enthusiasts aren't really a huge fan of water park expansions, but I've been to a few water parks, and I gotta say those slide complexes can be a lot of fun. So don't sleep on those. And yeah, I think it's funny how you mentioned the SNS steeplechase, and that was like a Zamperla moto coaster or whatever. Honestly, I hope it's a Zamperla moto coaster. I don't know how much that's possible, but I think those are kind of sweet. Or they look pretty sweet. I haven't been on one yet, but still, I think it's gonna be great for Kentucky Kingdom. Definitely well deserved. I'm super excited for this park. In fact, I actually might visit this park this coming summer. So hopefully that happens. I really want to get on Lightning Rod and Storm Runner. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I have to say about it. I mean, it's really exciting, but there's still a lot of stuff that we don't know about it yet, and still so many things that could change that I don't really feel comfortable with, giving my concrete opinions on it. But I don't know. It looks fantastic.
For sure. I think, if I had to pick out of any of these areas, which one would I like to either see happen or the soonest? Definitely the one that has the Celebration Downs, which has the steeplechase coaster and the interactive dark ride. I think both of those would be super sweet fits, whether it is an SNS steeplechase, which would be very intriguing because it would be the first, or even a moto coaster. I've done Pony Express. It's a fun ride. So I think both of those would fit in very nicely. And then an interactive dark ride. I mean, they don't really have a dark ride right now. So,
oh yeah, that's right.
Yep. So that definitely would be very nice as well. But I mean, any of these, and of course, like I said, there probably will be changes with whatever they go with. It's regardless of what happens, it's just great to see that something is going to be in the pipeline, and the park's going to be getting some much needed love and better fitting in with the Hershen's overall kind of brand with a new area, as you mentioned. It'll make it feel more like a Hershen park, so that's definitely very good. So that is pretty much everything we have for the news. Like I said, different look segment than how it's previously been. And then we're going to move on to our next segment, which is Guess the Coaster. So,
Fun.
Yep. So basically how this works...
It's been a while since I did one of these.
How this one works is, for those of you in the chat, you're going to ask questions to try to find clues for the coaster that either of us are thinking of. And then based off those clues, you'll try to guess the specific coaster. So I will go first in terms of being the one who is thinking of a coaster, then it'll be Micah, and we'll switch off from there. Planning to do 8 rounds for this one, so that's going to be the plan, 4 rounds for each of us. So I do have my first coaster, so those in the chat, you can put in your questions. Micah, if you want to participate, you can also you can ask questions live, just don't, like, if you have answers, you can put it in the private chat, just because I mentioned the delay thing earlier, but there we go.
Right.
It is not Pony Express. That would be wild if it somehow was. Is it blue? It does have blue supports, so I'll give you that. And it is in the United States, so it is not in the Southern Hemisphere. I also saw from earlier, Michael donated $1. Very much appreciate it. So wanted to mention that. So we have a coaster of blue supports in the U.S. It is not themed to horses in some way. Nope. There's a lot of coasters that are themed to horses, so you never know. And of course, it relates very well. It is not Millennium Force. I can say that right off the bat. It is not a B&M coaster, and it is not at a chain park.
Oh.
And it is not Banshee or Blue Streak. So basically,
blue supports. I thought I said blue track. Okay.
yeah, blue supports. No, you're good. You're good. East of the Mississippi. No, it is not. This is a coaster that is west of the Mississippi River, and it is not an Intamin. So just to recap, we have a U.S. coaster with blue supports that is not at a chain park and is on the western side of the Mississippi. It is not in Texas, so not there.
Blue supports. Ah, that's not at chain park either. Darn it. Okay.
Not in California, and it is
Wow.
not. It's not under 100 feet. Yes, Stamford Bridge. It is in Idaho. So.
So that narrows it down quite a bit.
Yep.
Oh, Aftershock.
Oh, you weren't supposed. Well, I think someone would probably get it.
Shoot. Okay.
Nah, you're good.
Oh, sorry.
I think someone.
I see what comes to my head sometimes.
Nah, you're good. I think probably by the time chat had typed it, it probably had not been said yet because it came in pretty quick. So, History and Leisure was the first to get it. It is indeed Aftershock at Silverwood. And no, I have not ridden this one. Someone asked if I had ridden it. I have not been to Silverwood yet. Would really like to at some point. But Aftershock is the correct coaster. So History and Leisure is on the board with a point. And then, Micah, when you have your first coaster that you're thinking of, let me know. And we'll begin the next round.
All right, so can I give like a little bit more than just the support color? Can I say like, the general general area of the ride, just to kind of give you a more picture in your head and try to figure it out?
Yeah, if you want, if someone asks a color related question, then yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let's see. It has to be like a super obscure one, so you guys would never guess it. That was good for the Aftershock at Silverwood, though. That one was pretty good. That one took me a while. Let's see. Ooh. Okay.
You got it, or you? Okay, you got
Yep.
it. All right, we got several questions have come in.
Oh shoot, yeah.
Is it in the?
Not in Europe.
Okay, is it in the U.S.?
Oh, I see that. I see that. It is in the U.S. Yes, not in Europe though. Obviously. Is it orange? Close. Green? No. Intamin? No, actually. It's not wooden, and no, it's not Excalibur. Although that actually did come across my mind when I'm thinking about this.
Wow.
East of Mississippi. Yes.
Actually, I'll just put my own questions in the chat.
Chain Park, yes. Florida, no. Built before 2000. Hold on a second. Okay. Technically, yes, but also no. I guess that kind of gives away that it is a relocation.
Okay.
Great Lakes region, yes. Ohio, no, and not Pennsylvania. Ooh, down there's a good guess, but no.
Dang, there was one I was thinking of until you said it was a relocation, and that threw me off.
It's not in Minnesota. Oh, yeah, it is in Michigan, so that kind of nails it down quite a bit for you guys.
Yeah, I think I know what it is, but I'll let chat do this one. I sent it in private chat. Don't say if I got it right. Well, or you can tell me if I got it wrong, but not if I'm right.
Yeah, so I think civilian satellite, and you got basically the same time. It is Thunderhawk, yes. Which,
There we go.
by the way, is not a bad. It is not a bad SLC. It's actually one of the better ones I've been on. So.
There you go. I've only done one, so I can't. I don't have much to compare, but I've done Kong. Which is considered one of the worst ones. I didn't even think it was that bad.
I was gonna say. Oh really?
No, I did not think it was like. Is it like all that good? Not really, but like it. Is it like actually that terrible? Not really. I mean, I think the boomerang at that park is much worse, but I'm kind of a boomerang hater, I suppose. So,
I mean, I'm with you on that one, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, there we go. Already now I'll think of my coaster, and also I put that in the scoreboard, so civilian satellite has a point as well. And I am going to try to get my coaster. Okay, no, I don't want to go with that one. Eventually I'm gonna... Okay, I'm using RCDB, by the way, so that's why it's like taking me a little bit. I do have my next coaster.
You just gotta generate a random roller coaster and just go with that.
Heck no. I mean, if we were gonna do that, we would have gotten like I think it was a dragon wagon, and it was like it was somewhere. So
this stream would be like 2 hours long if we did that.
Exactly. So, but I do have my coaster. Some questions already came in. It is in the U.S. And it is red. Red track specifically. It is not Coast Rider. People know how much I despise Coast Rider. Coast Rider, not Ghost Rider. One day someone's going to get a clip of me saying that, but it's going to be interpreted as me saying Ghost Rider. So, it is not purple in any shape or form as far as I'm aware. A color is not in the name. That is actually a good question. I can think of a few red coasters that have red in the name. It is not west of the Mississippi, so it is east of the Mississippi. Yes, I would say it is in a southern state. Is some kind of metal... No, there's not a kind of metal that's mentioned in the name. It is steel, so it is a steel coaster. It does not go upside down. It is not Storm Chaser. It is not Diamondback. It is not Steel Vengeance, but it is in the Carolinas. So, History and Leisure.
Okay.
Yeah, not a Hershey Park. Coaster Josh got it for me first. Very quickly followed by Stamford Bridge, but it is indeed... Yeah, actually, you might have got it, like, pretty... I saw the notification come up, so you might have gotten it, like, right at the same time. But it is indeed Intimidator, so good job there. And now it is your turn to think of a coaster.
Okay. All right. Gotta really think about this one. It can't be too suspicious because I feel like most of the viewers know what parks I've been to. So let's try a park I haven't been to yet.
That's a good way to go.
Okay, I got one too. So I'm ready to go.
Alrighty. Some questions have already come in. That's how these go.
Brown? That is a really weird guess, but no. I've never seen a brown coaster except for wood coasters, which it's not a wood coaster, by the way. So, is it Air Grover? No. East of Mississippi? Yes. Yes, it is.
All
is
right.
it blue? It's actually not. No. No, it's not Daddy Pig.
We got that one last stream. And keep in mind, I do
Oh, really?
this through RCDB. So, yeah.
Okay. It is in the U.S., not in Ohio, though. B&M, yes. It is a B&M. Florida, we're getting warmer. Is the word the name? I don't think so. I could be wrong with that, though. Not Pennsylvania. I got you guys really good on this one. It is in Georgia.
Ooh, all right. Okay.
Oh, I feel like this one's gonna give it away. No, it is not a sit down. Yes, it is Georgia Scorcher. I think Civilian Satellite got that.
Oh, there you go. Wait, didn't you say it was not red? Hold up.
I said it wasn't blue.
Oh, it wasn't
I
blue.
don't know.
Okay.
No,
You did say it wasn't blue. You're right. I think you're right. Yeah, the question was, is it blue? Because I, for some reason, was thinking red. I'm like, wait a minute. No, that doesn't line up. But yeah, there you go. There you go, Georgia Scorcher. And I wrote it once. I wrote it in the front row. Probably should have wrote it in the back because the drop's better there. I thought it was okay.
Oh, it has a pre-drop.
Yeah, I did it because I was with family, and I'm like, in case it's rough, better not write it in the back with them. So
yeah, dude,
was
I
not
was
much of an issue.
That was not fun.
Yeah.
Those are terrible.
Vortex at CGA before it became Patriot, that was really bad. So, yeah. But anyways, who got that one? Civilian Satellite, I think got it first.
Civilian Satellite.
Alrighty, I'll put that on the
Satellite, got it, yeah.
leaderboard. And then I do have my next coaster. This one will be trickier than the past two, so I will mention that. But guess away.
Oh boy.
It is in the US. I will probably make the last one an international one, but for now, this one is a US coaster. It is not, no, it's not black or very dark gray. It is wooden. So we do have a wooden coaster in the US. It is not Nessie. It is east of the Mississippi. It is not defunct. So this is an operating wooden coaster east of the Mississippi. It is not in Colorado. There is not an animal in the name. That is a really good question. It is not Prowler. It's not American Thunder. It's not in Florida. It's not Oscar's Wacky Taxi. However, underrated question. This coaster is in Ohio. So,
oh, really? Oh!
Yep. We do have a wooden coaster in Ohio. It's not Blue Streak. It's not in Pennsylvania. It is not Leap the Dips. Does its state border the Mississippi? I would need to look at the map again, but I would think not. I have not ridden it. It is not at a chain park. It's not Sea Dragon.
Oh, what?
It's not Mystic Timbers.
What?
Like I said, it was gonna be a little tricky.
I don't know what it's called, but I know what it is. Ooh.
Civilian satellite got it again. It is
Okay.
Tornado. Stanford Bridge was close, but you see that has an animal in the name, and so therefore it would have been answered earlier, which is
See, I was thinking like Stickler's Grove. I'm just like, wait, what? That one really small park that's barely open.
yep, exactly right. But
Well done, well done.
yep, it is Tornado. Alrighty, so now you have to think of another coaster, and then we'll move from there.
Okay. That was a really good one, by the way. That one took me a while. Let's see. So, ooh. All right, I got it.
I do agree. Teddy Bear would have been a nice one. I wish that had come up on RCDB. That would have been even better, I think. But
It is not in Europe or the USA, so yes, I am going international with this one.
nice.
Is the coaster so faded it needs a new paint job? Yes. It's not Gerstlauer, though.
Oh,
No
it
wash.
is. Wow. Okay.
No, it's not Gerstlauer. It's not. It is in Japan. Sorry, not in China though. Not yes. Yeah, it's somewhere in Asia. European manufacturer? No.
Let's.
Togo? Yes, it is a Togo.
I put it in chat or private. Don't say if it's accurate or not. Well, you can say if it isn't.
You got it. It is Bandit. Darn it! I thought that was gonna be a tricky one,
Yep.
but I
And
guess Bandit's kind of well known because of Magnum. But
there you go. History and Leisure was first to get it through chat. So there you go. And then, which puts him at 2 points. And then we're moving on to the last round for both of us. So, last 2 rounds here. I do already have my coaster, so guess away. And it is not in the US. Like I said, I was going to go international with this one, and so I did. It is in Europe, so yep, that is indeed. It is not yellow. Let me just make sure. The supports kind of border, like, actually, the supports are yellow. Okay, so the supports are yellow, but I don't know if that's going to help a whole lot with this one. It is not at Alton Towers. It is, let's see. I already said it was in Europe, so. It is not wooden, but it is in Belgium. Wow, that was a really good guess for a country. Yes, it is in Belgium. So we have a steel coaster in Belgium with yellow supports. Though I don't know if you would think of it that way. It is not
I
red.
have not researched anything in Belgium, so I'm completely lost on this one.
Well, there you go. It is not Flucht von Novgorod. It's not in Germany. It's not Stuntfall. It's not. Let's see. I said it was in Belgium, so I can. It is not Ride to Happiness. It is not Fury, but it is at Wallaby, Belgium. So Michael got it. Tiki Waka, Wallaby, Belgium. That is the Gerstlauer bobsled coaster.
Oh.
So there you go.
Huh.
That is the correct answer. It also has a soundtrack by I'm a Score, actually. So probably one of the more well-known ones of the model just because of that. So, and well, the fact that it's at a Wallaby Park, so that helps as well. But there you go. So Tiwaka is, like, the track is light blue, the supports are yellow. That's why I said the support color might not help much. Because I don't think it's. I mean, even I had to look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess those supports are yellow. So there you go. Alrighty, Micah, you have your
Alright,
coaster.
already got it picked out.
Alrighty.
Okay, so go at it, people. is in the USA, so staying home for this one. Is it blue? No, it's not blue. Bisbee Spiral Airship? No. Does it have rock work? Ooh, I don't think so. It's not wood, so it's steel. Yeah. Yeah, there's no rock work on it, no. East of Mississippi, no, actually. So yes, it is west of Mississippi.
All right. Not super obvious yet what this is, so.
Chain Park, no. California, not quite.
Someone asked if it was themed to a bird.
A bird? No, it's not. It's not themed to a bird. It's not in Texas or Utah.
Oh boy.
Frontier City, no, it's not in Frontier City either. Ah, Stanford Bridge got it. Desert Storm. How are you so
Are
good
you
at this?
serious?
Okay. Well,
wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought you guys would be stuck on this one for a while.
dang it. I was kind of hoping for a second. I'm like, okay, you said it was kind of close to California. I'm like, I was kind of hoping it was one of the Oregon coasters because I just rode a few of those recently, but Desert Storm will do. Really good guess there by Stanford Bridge. So, and that puts him on the board as well. So, very good. That'll pretty much wrap it up for Guess the Coaster. Hope you all had a good time. Our official winner of Guess the Coaster for today's stream is Civilian Satellite. Got 3 correct, so congratulations there. And we'll move on to our next segment, which is Buy or Sell, which obviously Chris was a previous guest of the stream. Basically, you in the chat give us your predictions or coaster or theme park opinions or takes, and then we'll buy or sell them. So that is pretty much the plan. I will set probably a 10-minute timer to probably do these and get all these in, and then we'll go from there. So that'll be the plan. So 10 minutes starts now, and we'll see what comes in. That was a good final coaster. I like that.
Thanks.
You went with that one because I think in most cases it would take a while for it to get figured out. So that was a good one.
Desert Storm is on the list of coasters that look like they should suck but don't. I mean, I haven't been on it, of course, but it does look like it does kind of suck because it's made by the same manufacturer who did Dragon at Adventureland. Now it's a terrible ride. So.
Did you actually do that one?
Yes.
Oh my god.
The year before it closed, I wrote it, and it was terrible. Oh.
The funny thing is with that manufacturer is they did Texas Tornado as well, which I've actually heard good things about, and Desert Storm I've actually heard is pretty solid. So I don't know what went wrong with Dragon. So
I don't know, man. It just sucked.
Yeah, but oof,
first
goodness.
Buy or sell.
I don't like that one.
Oh, that's scary. But actually, he does have a point.
Okay. Do you want to go first for this one, or should I?
I mean, really, it's just, for me, it's kind of self-explanatory. I mean, they invested some money, but, like, at the same time, I don't think the attendance is really there to support what they've invested in. So I don't really see them making a return on investment on those things. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it will close, but I think if you were to ask me like what park I think would close next in the US, this would be like on the list. Not necessarily like the most like the top one, but definitely on the list for sure.
So do you buy or sell that it like will not exist in 10 years basically?
Oh, I'm gonna say buy actually. I don't know.
You know what? I'm a sell. Here's my reasoning behind it. So the park right now, a lot of people are like, I think it's a lot of focus is because they obviously have purchased the coasters. They haven't gone up yet. From my understanding, it's not a money issue. It's just more local council approval stuff is basically
Oh,
the
okay.
main reason that it's a problem. So I think, which is like we've seen other rides and other park projects that have gone through issues with that and they've been fine. So I don't really think that's I'm not too concerned about that. Obviously, you would like for it to open sooner, but in terms of the big rides they've gotten, but we'll see. And then additionally, it's part of a huge complex down there in Austin. It's part of the racetrack, which is the only Formula One racetrack. So I
Oh,
think,
I
and
forgot about that.
that area, there's like the nearest parks are in San Antonio, and Austin's a pretty big city, so I think it will be fine. Obviously, it's just taking a little while for it to for them to build up the rides, and construction and things of that sort isn't going as quickly as hoped. But I think it'll be fine. I don't have too much concern, but maybe there is something there. I know it's just kind of been one of those things where it's like, Palindrome was announced however long ago, and it's like
Oh,
it's hardly vertical. Like it is vertical. They have done some construction, but it's not a lot. So I do kind of get
yeah.
the skepticism there, but I think it'll be fine. Let's see. Buy or sell. Universal will build the park in England, which I think I've previously mentioned a little bit. And Merlin will be forced to up its game. Do you want to go first for this one, or?
Yeah, and can I just say that I think I've just been out of loop on this project lately, but I mean, yeah, I mean, if Universal does go over to Britain, I think Merlin's gonna have up their game because they're kind of like a big deal over there. I think so. Uh, I mean, obviously, like when those like big chain parks move in, like every park has to be on their best look in order to still attract some crowds, you know. So I'm gonna say buy on this one.
So the Universal Park, it's still in pretty early phases. It is like confirmed at this point because after there was all those leaks, Universal like said that yes, we are in the early stages of planning a theme park, and they launched a website to kind of get the like sort of public on their side because they're gonna have to go through like getting approved for a lot of different things and whatnot, which has been an issue in the past with these kinds of projects. But in terms of, yeah, I mean, it seems like, Universal, they've had several attempts in the past, for those who don't know, to try to build a UK park. It hasn't worked. I think they've done their research with this one. Europe doesn't have a Universal Park yet. And I think this would be a good way to introduce one, along with, buying back Port Aventura. But whether or not that's the route, this I think would still be a good idea. So I will buy that it will happen, and that yes, Merlin will be forced to up its game. And some people have even speculated that maybe there was some knowledge of this or something, and that's why you're starting to see some big projects go over there all of a sudden. Maybe there had been some whispers that something like this was coming around. That's pure speculation, but over there they'd probably know more about this stuff than we do, so who knows. But the park will not open till like the end of the decade if it happens, though, just based off the like kind of rumors with it and everything. So, but would be exciting. Let's see, next one. I saw it got retracted on the YouTube thing. That's a good Q&A question. The next one that showed up, that can be for Q&A, but the next buy or sell is, it'll be a long time before a park hires Zamperla to overhaul their Intamin hydraulic coaster, I guess after these first two projects, because obviously we have the one going to Peony Playland and Dragster, or Top Thrill 2, I should say. What's your thoughts on this?
So obviously we haven't really seen how Top Thrill 2 will hold up with the overhaul, but I definitely think if that is successful, I could see them doing the same thing to Kingda Ka, simply because they're the same ride model. I don't know if they'll do it for Accelerator though. I think Accelerator still has a little bit left before they even think about refurbishing it with a new launch system. But yeah, I think if Kingda Ka, if it goes well with Dragster, I think Kingda Ka might get a similar treatment. Also because they're owned by the same company now, so I guess we'll have to see how Top Thrill 2 goes. So I'm actually going to I'm gonna sell this one because I actually do think if Top Thrill 2 is successful, Kingda Ka will be the next one up in the US.
So I'm actually going to pull up a list of all the Intamin hydraulic launch coasters just to kind of, because there's a lot of international ones that you wouldn't
oh yeah, like Stealth or something.
think of, because in terms of like, and I'm like, I have no, I mean, Kingda Ka, I don't know the land situation with it, but that would be one of those ones where I think my assumption is that theoretically would be possible. I think they have some room. I haven't been to the park, so my assumption is they would have the room to put a spike there. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they might. Something like Dragster, I think straight up, when Dragster's done, like, it's going to be done. I don't think there's going to be a Zamperla overhaul of that, because there's literally no space to put in a, like, spike if they wanted. And I think it's just too short of a track to try to redo it with the LSMs. So in terms of, that is tough, because I'm looking at the other ones. I mean, there's not really a super obvious candidate here. Stormrunner, I think, would also have issues with space. Also, that'd be a really weird one for them to do, like, a spike, because, like, it already has a layout.
Yep.
That would be a very odd choice, unless they were able to just do it in a way where it was an LSM, but not with the spike. And then these other ones, like, the only thing is, I don't know how short the launch track is, but some of these shorter ones, like Desert Race and Rita, maybe, if they were interested, because they aren't as powerful of launches, so that might work. Also, if, I guess Matugani has issues with the hydraulic launch.
Oh, yes.
Because that's
actually a good one.
That's a short launch, so they could probably do what they did with the one at PNE and probably just put it. So that's a tough one to, like, pick, but I think some way, somehow, I'm going to assume these projects end up working out at least better than, like, they're more reliable than the hydraulic launch. And someone out there is going to be like, yes, we want this. So I will sell this for that reason. So I agree with Mike on that. Let's see. Boy, this one, I have an answer for it. A lot of time. This happens a lot with Disney and Universal projects in general, but Buy or Sell Tiana's Bayou Adventure will open ahead of schedule. Either one, and some summer guests will be able to ride it. You want to go first for this?
Yeah, see, I haven't really been paying too much attention to Disney recently, but I mean, they seem pretty quick when they put attractions up. So, as much as I want to say to buy this, I'm gonna sell it just because I'm kind of skeptical with, like, just the like labor shortage, like some places are facing, stuff like that for building stuff. I know that's been a problem for some places too. So I don't know. I think yeah, I'm gonna sell this one.
I'm going to sell it for a different reason. There's always this talk when, like, this happened with Velocicoaster, this happened with Tron, with Tron after it got delayed, but, like, people, like, the progress from, like, the outside, or just in general, looks really good. And it's like, oh, wow, this ride could open really soon. But it's like, they're not gonna open it that much sooner than they were planning to. I don't think that's not usually something that Disney does. I mean, Tron just sat there for a while, even though it probably could have operated for a while. Different situation, but I'm going to sell. I still think it will be a later 2024 opening. Because I mean that if it is a summer thing, like yes, it would make sense. It doesn't seem like something they would do to open it like that significantly earlier. Um, it just I would be very surprised. So I'm going to sell it. So there we go for that one. And then so the timer went out, so we'll answer any questions heading up to I know the last one that just came in. But anyways, we'll go up to there. Oh, interesting. Actually, I'll get to this. Disney's announcement language on Tiana's has shifted slightly, opening late in 2024 to opening in 2024. Okay, that actually is notable. I'm still going to sell it because to me that makes it very open-ended. They can, but that does give them the freedom to do it. So I'm still going to sell it. But hey, if I'm wrong, honestly, that might be a good thing because I might be if it's open by the time I go to Disney World as I'm hopefully planning to this year, that would be very good. I mean, not like it matters because I could go to Disneyland, but would be nice. But sorry, moving to this one. US will get another 4D coaster like X2 within the next 100 years. Buy or sell, Micah, what's your thoughts on this?
Oh, 100 years. That's a pretty big window. I guess it kind of brings up the question, like, what would a 3D, or sorry, what would a 4D coaster look like 100 years from now? You know, like, how crazy will it be? But actually, into the actual question, you see, 4D coasters like X2 are super expensive. I just don't think parks have enough budget for those right now at all. Because we see a lot of parks going with smaller scale family oriented rides because their budget's so tight. So 100 years is a pretty big time frame for stuff to actually happen, but I'm gonna sell this just because I don't think parks are interested in like spending that much money on a coaster that could cause more problems for them down the road in terms of maintenance and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna sell this one.
That is fair. I mean, 100 years is a long time. Like, if you were to ask me within like the next 5 to 10 years, no, absolutely not. Because as you said, they're stupidly expensive. But I do feel like, I mean, with the 4D free spins, now the Axis coaster, which I know hasn't really sold a lot, but still, like, that type of ride experience is interesting. I feel like as technology progresses, there will be cheaper and better ways to make 4D coasters more similar to like like if you're asking like a true SNS 4D, like, you know, like Edge and Ica or Dynaconda, like literally one of those, no, I do not see one of those being built in the next 100 years. Something that's a concept that kind of is inspired by that, but is with better technology and is cheaper, probably like, I don't know, a long time from now, I think it could happen. So kind of halfway in between, but I think we'll get some sort of sophisticated 4D coaster in the next 100 years. So I will buy it, but like I said, I'm not. But if you're asking like if we're getting like an Edge and Ica clone or something, I would sell that because no, we're not. I would be very shocked. So there we go for that one.
Yep.
Let's see. Buy or sell. Six Flags, the new chain.
Ooh.
No. I am definitely selling this one hard.
I don't know.
It would not be a good fit. And I don't Six Flags hasn't really shown an interest to come back into Europe. So I'm going to sell.
Yeah, they learned a lesson.
And hold on, your connection's a little. Let's see if he. But hold on, Micah, you there?
I
Yeah,
am here. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you now. Okay, it was a little like kind of spotty earlier, but
Oh,
you
okay.
also said sell, right? Or
Yeah, I think so.
all right. I don't even think there's much analysis needed there. I just, having been there, I would be devastated if that happened. Would much
Yeah,
prefer
right.
like Universal to take over if it were a U.S.
I can see that.
chain at that point. Um,
Yeah.
but we'll see what happens there. Because it will probably be sold to somebody. We just don't know who yet. Um, let's see, a Midwest park not owned by Six Flags or Cedar Fair. Will add April hours before 2028. This is where I am like useless because that's not a region I live in, but I know that's pretty unusual.
Yeah, and the Midwest is kind of sketchy for like, yeah. I was gonna say like it's really uncommon for places to be outdoor places to be open in April because there's still a chance of a snowstorm, believe it or not. Um, let's see, it can't be Adventureland because they're a little too far up north for that. I feel like still. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like it's possible for like some parks, like possibly like Holiday World, maybe like just some of those like smaller parks. But realistically, I would say no. Yeah, because like a lot of schools don't get out in the Midwest until like May, so like there'd be a lot of like just nobody going there for a while if it was in April, So yeah, I'm gonna sell this.
Yeah, there's just, I mean, with weather being a factor, and then, I mean, students not being out doesn't really make sense. Someone mentioned Nick Universe. I'm pretty sure the one in Mall of America is already open year round. Am I correct on that? Or
Yep. Yeah, it's open year round. Yeah, it gets
alrighty, so
super busy
that
on spring break. So
there you go. Although, wait, hold on, wait, when is spring break for you guys? Or why? Okay, now it's just repeating. Okay.
it's like in March, I think. I graduated school, so like, yeah, I'm not completely sure, but yeah, it's sometime in March usually, at least where I'm from. So
Okay. Yeah, and then it's probably very risky to do at that point. So yeah, probably not then. So yeah,
yeah.
I will sell that one. uh so let's see the next one. How are we supposed to how I don't know how we're supposed to answer a question related to how Space Mountain was in the 70s and 80s when neither of us have written it or were even
Oh
alive.
yeah, I was definitely there back
Something like that.
then.
So I cannot say I have not seen much video, so I'm gonna just skip past that one. If someone in chat has experienced it, let
Yeah,
us know.
if you have seen a video of it back in the day, it's probably really bad.
Oh yeah, that too. Didn't even think that POV is probably like at like 240p at best or something like that. So and probably has some horrific audio. Um, but
Oh yeah.
let's. I think. Okay, I think this is the actual last one. It is buy or sell. The Ultra Surf at Six Flags Over Georgia is the only one to ever be built.
All right, I am 100% buying this one because
Oh,
if you want a ride like this, you're going to get a mock Power Splash. Like I don't know why you would buy the Intamin version over the mock one. I mean, there might be something to, but like I don't know. It's just mock is the way to go with these kind of stuff. I feel like.
You know, I'm actually going to sell this for a few reasons. For one, the Ultra Surf, I think, has the capability and to, like, and I guess the Mach one, you can kind of do stuff with the water levels. But this one could operate, like, in colder months at, like, certain parks because it doesn't have to have the water on
Really?
with the way it works. No.
Oh.
So, in fact, I'm not even entirely sure how wet you get on this thing because if you look at the thing, like the animation they released, I'm kind of confused by it. I imagine like yeah, you can get like there's like yes, you can get wet on it if like you have a setting, but I'm pretty sure it's adjustable. Maybe I'm completely off there, but I feel like that's part of that one. And then it does have the spinny. Unless it's a horrific disaster, like unreliable, like, you know, like Sandy's Blasting Bronco or something, I feel like we'll see another one somewhere. Especially because, based off shipping documents, this was originally meant for a park in, oh wait, hold up. I think a connection issue just happened. Hold on, I'm gonna get Micah back. It just exited out. I'm not sure why. So hold on, give us a second. Not sure what happened. Hold on. All right, so we'll get that figured out. Let's see. Hopefully he's able to come back in relatively soon. There we go. Perfect. Okay, not sure what happened. All right, we got you back.
I live. Okay.
I don't know if it was a disconnection or what that was, but glad to have you back.
Me neither.
Yeah, I don't that was very bizarre, but yeah, the Ultra Surf, it was originally meant to go to an Asian park because the coaster was shipped out of a port in Vietnam, which Intamin's not like based there. So
Whoa.
yeah. So it was gonna be a coaster for another park and it ended up going to over Georgia. So because of that, I think there's other parks probably in Asia that would be interested. And so I think we'll find another one that gets built. Like I said, as long as it's not like Sandy's Blasting Bronco level. So
Right.
yeah, but that's gonna do it for buy or sell. Unless you had any other things you wanted to add to the Ultra Surf.
No, I think both of us had pretty good points. Yeah, I had no idea that they could operate without water. I thought it was just like just Intamin copying Mock's homework in terms of ride models. So I mean, yeah, theoretically there could be more out there, but like he said, if it's anything like Sandy's Blasting Bronco, then yeah, there's no chance.
Yeah, I think so. This one, the Ultra Surf, a lot of people get confused because there's that one that literally looked like a Mock Rides ripoff model, but it was a single rail looking coaster that Intamin revealed. This is not that. This is it's similar like layout wise, but it has spinning seats as well. So it's like a
Oh, that's
very
cool.
different. Well, I say it's different enough ride experience. So. But and I just by looking at it, it looked like it was adjustable. So, but I guess we will find out this year what exactly it looks like. So, there we have it. That is our buy or sell segment, which will lead us into our final segment before the final Q&A. Our big segment for today. This is the next coaster we would give to every Six Flags, and we're doing this assuming the merger happens. So we're going to include every Cedar Fair park, and we're going to take turns switching around between what coaster we would give each park. And this idea was kind of inspired from Micah's and North Star Coasters' series, What If I Owned? So wanted to give a shout out there. But yeah, pretty much like you'll kind of figure it out as we go through it. And I'll go first with mine. This is kind of in alphabetical order, but I gave Micah all the parks that he had been to and all the parks that he had not been to that I had been to, I get, and then we kind of randomly split the other parks. So it's kind of in alphabetical order, but it's not perfect. So the first park we're going with is California's Great America, which already I have to put a disclaimer on this one because obviously the park's scheduled to close. So for this pick,
Right.
I was like, okay, we're gonna say that the zoning issues that apparently is a problem for Prologis to do their stuff with it because the land it's on is only zoned to be a theme park right now. We're gonna say that issue lasts a while, and so Six Flags decides we need to put a family coaster or a family edition here that's pretty relocatable. So, we can attract people to come here while the park's still happening, and then just relocate this coaster somewhere else when it dies. So that's why for Great America, there's going to be more exciting picks than this. But given the situation, I have picked a Vekoma Family Boomerang for California's Great America. They have 2 kiddie coasters and only like one true family coaster with Psycho Mouse, so I think this is a kind of nice like second family coaster that kind of bridges the gap there. And I think these rides they look pretty solid. Look like they're a lot of fun for the families and everyone can ride it. It's not like a true kiddie coaster where it's like only the kids can do it, like anyone can do it. So, and Kings Island is getting one too. So I figured it was a pretty solid pick for Great America. So that's the one I went with there. Alrighty.
All right. So I think my first one is Carowinds. Yep. Okay. So Carowinds is interesting because there's a lot of exciting stuff they can do because this is actually one of the more favorited parks in the chain. So I have pretty unlimited resources here. But this might be an unpopular opinion, but I would rather Carowinds just tear down Hurler and replace it with like a really good like GCI wooden coaster because I think that park is lacking a good wooden coaster because Hurler sucks and they have like a family wooden coaster. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's like Express, but yeah, just tear Hurler down. Just put in like a GCI kind of like Gold Striker. I feel like just like a modern version of Gold Striker. I think that would be fantastic. And somewhere down the line, I would see like maybe like a ground up RMC like Area Force One, but again, that's like later down the line. People do want Hurler to be RMC at Carowinds, but we've already seen that at King's Dominion. So I'd rather see just a brand new roller coaster layout, just completely fresh on that plot of land right next to Fury, so you can lap both of them in the same section of the park and stuff like that. So. Yeah, GCI wooden coaster for sure.
Yeah, no, that definitely, I mean, because hurlers are only one that they have right now. In this scenario, it would be replacing it. And you've ridden it, so, I mean, you have your thoughts on it.
Getting flashbacks already now.
But, oh, okay, there we go.
Something happened? My screen went black for a minute.
Yeah, I don't know. Just once again went out for a second and then came back in, but we're good now.
What is going on?
But I definitely think that's a good pick there. Definitely makes a lot of sense. So this next one was also kind of a tricky one with Canada's Wonderland. This is specifically because I decided to kind of pick between the options on the survey because it's like we don't really know which one of these or if we're getting any of these, and we know these are some kinds of rides they're looking at. And now with the King's Dominion leak, I do like this idea for Canada's Wonderland, and it fits very well with them loving to work with B&M. So I have them getting that B&M launched wing coaster that was shown on their surveys, and this would replace Wonder Mountain's Guardian. It would go through the rockwork that way. So I do kind of think this will actually happen in real life. I actually do think this will happen, but I do think it would be a very nice ride for the park. It would be their first like true thrilling launch coaster. Like I said, another B&M coaster, which they like. And it would be a very appealing coaster, I think, with its layout and with some of the near misses they could pull off. So that's my pick there.
Honestly, I'd probably do the exact same thing.
Yep.
All right, so I have Cedar Point next, and this one is a little more a little bit more difficult than Carowinds because they already have like a lot of good roller coasters. So, see, you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb here and just say this because I think Gemini is on is on its way out. You know, I think Gemini is in its last decade or so. So to replace it, Cedar Point's lacking a good wooden coaster, much like Carowinds. I mean, Blue Streak is pretty decent, but like it's old, right? So I say like this might be a little bit outlandish because I know Cedar Fair loves to work with GCI, but they already have Mystic Timbers at Kings Dominion. Kings Island. So I'm gonna say Gravity Group racing wooden coaster with like inversions and stuff. I think that would be like pretty cool. Put it in like Gemini's old plot of land, I think that'd be a perfect fit, and I think Timberliner trains are better than like the Infinity Flyer trains, that like the newer trains that GCI has. I heard those aren't really the best. So I think Gravity Group kind of be like the next thing, and also just have Cedar Fair and / Six Flags kind of test out Gravity Group for a little bit for a larger scale project. So yeah, I think that's on the. I think that could be an idea.
I do like that. I like that you went with, because everyone's, the GCI wooden coaster has like been like a thing for people have wanted for Cedar Point, whether it's like, the simple like just actual like just GCI coaster, like pretty standard, or even that model they showed at IAPA with the dueling one with inversions. But I like that you went with Gravity Group because they have shown to be capable of inversions, and it would be a new manufacturer for wooden coaster, at least. Well, Kings Island Gravity Grip did do a lot of work on Beast and Racer, but this would be a ground up, so it'd be a completely new experience and something pretty crazy. That would be extremely. I would love to see something like that, especially as you said, like a dueling one. That would be pretty sick for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be like also just like with the dueling track, like Cedar Point kind of twists the marketing as like the most inversions on a wooden coaster, because you have two separate tracks with like two inversions each, so like you have 4 inversions for that wooden coaster. They could like twist it some way for marketing, so.
Yep, for sure, definitely. And I mean, they definitely, I think if they were to get rid of Gemini, they would need a racing coaster of some sort, because I mean, that's just kind of a big loss and big shoes to fill. So I definitely like that a lot. So the next one I have is another kind of lame pick. I did decide to put in a few family coasters on here because realistically, like, we would be getting some of them. And this will be I did allow for duplicates. This will be the only time you see it for a family coaster, at least that I can think of, for my list. But for Dorney Park, they're getting Iron Menace this year. If you look at the previous several years, they haven't. All the coasters they've added have been more thrilling coasters in recent years. It's Iron Menace. Before that, it was Stinger, which obviously got removed, but it's somewhere in there. And then before that, it's Hydra, and then Possessed, which also was relocated. Or, sorry, Possessed, and then Hydra, and then Talon. And then you get the last, family coaster they added, which was Wild Mouse in 2000. So they actually do need another one. Which is why I've also decided to gift them a Vekoma Family Boomerang. I think these are going to pop up in a lot of... I think these are going to show up in a lot of places. Now, I don't know where they would put this, because I looked at their Snoopy area, and it's pretty tiny. And I don't know that it could fit one. So it might have to be outside of that. Some way, somehow, something. But no, I would... I think they could use a family coaster. This would be another one that kind of bridges the gap between Wild Mouse and their, kitty coaster, because they just have a Zamperla kitty coaster. So I think it'd be a good fit. Like I said, not all that interesting, but they're getting Iron Menace this year. Like they're getting their big edition, so
Right.
that's the one I'm going with. And you have a
All
very
right.
interesting
So
next one here, so I'm curious to see
yeah,
which
I was
way you
gonna say,
go.
you gave me a really interesting park here. Frontier City. So yes, I have been to this park, but I try to forget that I do because it wasn't really anything special. But you know what? Okay, hear me out. What if Six Flags slash Cedar Fair sold this park? All right, because I don't think they make a whole lot of money off this park. I'm just saying. So let's just say it goes to a private business, private independent park, and they have a little bit more money to spend on actual roller coasters to get people in the door. So I think a good fit for this park. They really need a thrill, like a really good thrill coaster. Like they have a lot of family coasters that are good for the families, but they need a thrill coaster. So I'm gonna say an RMC Raptor just because they're super cheap and super compact. I think they could easily fit one in that park, even if it means removing Silver Bullet. I still think that'd be just a great fit for that park. Kind of matches it could definitely really go well with like a Western cowboy theme. They could definitely pull that off. So yeah, I think RMC Raptor is the way to go.
For sure. The funny thing is I think the park has a perfect name for an RMC Raptor with one of their already existing rides, but it's a shame that they already have it. I think Steel Lasso probably would have
Yeah,
been
dude.
a good fit here. But no, I definitely think, I mean, for a park of this size and everything, I would love to see a small scale, like kind of prototype RMC Raptor. So I think that would make a ton of sense here. So I do like that one. Alrighty, next we have Kings Island. This one, I also kind of I was trying to think of different things, and I'm just kind of like, having visited this park, I'm like, when I was there, I thought this is what they needed for a lot of reasons, and a lot of people have said it, but I mean, I just couldn't pick a better choice. And we're going to give them their Vortex replacement, which is going to come in the form of a mock multi-launch. This is going to be a standard sit-down version, similar to like Copperhead Strike, so not an extreme spinner because those are like insanely expensive and probably not that realistic. But I think a mock multi-launch would fit really well here. I mean, it'd be a multi-launch coaster on the more thrilling side, which would be nice for the park. They don't have that many inversion-based coasters, actually, so this would help with that. And it would also have some ejector airtime. It'd probably have some of the strongest airtime in the entire park, which, I mean, is it really something the park is actually actively looking for? Probably not, but it's a nice little bonus. So I think it'd be a really nice fit. So mock multi-launch is the pick here for Kings Island.
Nice, nice, nice. So I have the sister park, King's Dominion, on my list, and okay. So we're gonna do this post Wing Coaster because the Wing Coaster hasn't been announced yet, but let's just say it comes to the park because it's probably gonna end up being so. But see, it's really hard with King's Dominion because they're in stiff competition with Busch Gardens Williamsburg. And most of the rides that I was thinking of, Busch Gardens already has, like a dive coaster, or like something very similar, like a B&M Hyper. But this might be a shot in the dark and a little bit out of the blue. It's not entirely unrealistic. If Kings Dominion really wants to be competitive with Busch Gardens, they're going to have to innovate in some way. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say an SNS Access coaster for Kings Dominion.
All right. Interesting one there.
But they have to do it before Busch Gardens Williamsburg because I feel like Busch Gardens Williamsburg will do like the exact same thing but call it Big Bad Wolf, just like a little homage to the old air suspended coaster. But if Kings Dominion can beat them to the punch, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Rumors are that Busch Gardens Williamsburg's going with a family invert for their Big Bad Wolf homage, so I think we're okay there. But no, So I do like it. My only concern is at this point, the SNS Axis has kind of been more marketed to a lot smaller parks, just given the capacity and whatnot. And I
Fair.
would wonder how big of a scale and how much capacity they could do. Hopefully, the first few that open will kind of show, even at a small scale, hopefully they're reliable and they can show what the ride does, and so other parks can jump on and we can get bigger versions for sure. Because, I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense otherwise, just because it'd also be nice because it's like, it's not a true volcano replacement. They're already getting that with the wing coaster, but it's a very unique coaster, so I think it'd kind of
Yeah.
fill a role there for sure. So I do like it. The next one I have, or that we have, is I I I I don't really think I need to explain this one actually, but uh, I will say this. So Knott's Berry Farm's kind of in a tough situation right now, right? You got Montezuma,
Yeah.
whatever the heck's happening with it. um, is it like gonna get removed and they're gonna have to figure something out? Are they gonna find another company to work with and bring it back with an LSM launch? I mean, that's a mystery. Accelerator, yes, they put all the money into it, but realistically, how long is it gonna last? And at this point, this park, I mean, Ghost Rider gets such huge lines, and this park gets so much attendance. We need a coaster that can be like a huge capacity, like monster, and also a crowd
Yeah.
pleaser. And I mean, yes, I would have put B&M Giga, but realistically, with the city and whatnot, probably not gonna happen. So I'm like, okay, even if it's like a B&M Hyper or even Mini Hyper, we need a ride like this in this park. So whatever works, we're gonna do it. And assuming everything goes through, we're able to get a plan that works with the city and everything. This is what we're going with because we can figure out Montezuma and, well, hopefully Montezuma gets figured out, and then we can do this, and we'll figure everything else out with Accelerator later. Is the plan. Because I mean, yeah, I mean, you just need to get something that's reliable, I think, and I think this definitely fits the bill. So there we go for Knott's Berry
Cool.
Farm. Another
And
interesting
also,
one
it'd be
too.
the best. It'd be the best hypercoaster on the West Coast, regardless. So I think that would be a winner. But yeah, I have a very interesting park coming up. One that I haven't really necessarily been to, but I hear so much about. Uh, and that is the one and only LeBron's up in Canada. Um, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care about this park really much at all. So I want to be funny with this one. Okay, so let's get a green support and a green track 40 free spin and call it the pair or like Viper like build that where the other Viper was supposed to be built at and act like it was part of the plan all along. Just go with that.
I don't hate it. I really don't because realistically, I mean, if for anyone who remembers, it's like, oh well, okay, hey, finally this thing's getting open. That like it probably wouldn't tell the difference between that and this the other one. And I can tell you from riding an Intamin 4D coaster that and an SNS free spin that the free spins are much better. So
How about this? They modify the 40 free spin train so they also suck and they hurt more than the Intamin one.
oh, that is ruthless. Um, I mean, unironically, I actually think it'd be like a solid like coaster. Like they need anything, so like sure, like this'll work.
They'll
um,
take it.
but that I do like the funniness and the creative. I mean, well, creativity lack thereof, but kind of creativity because it's funny. I do like it for this one, so I do enjoy your pick for this one for sure. Alrighty, so most of the rides I've picked have either been, family coasters or not that weird, but let's bring a weird one in. We got Six Flags America. We're giving them an Intamin vertical launch coaster. So it's kind of difficult because they're near King's Dominion and Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. They need a ride that's relatively unique, and I think this would be eye-catching just with the vertical launch. it'd be the structure itself, like for the top hat, would be kind of reminiscent of Hypersonic XLC, which would be kind of funny, but um, not like that matters that much. But we don't know how expensive these things are, and also we don't know how well there is one of these out there, but that one's like a indoor in a building, like very different situation than this. But the layouts look like they could be pretty compact. Maybe because it's relatively new, or if they were able to do something like, maybe it wouldn't be insanely expensive. I feel like this would be a different ride experience from like Poltergeist, which is a launch coaster, and from what they have and what's around the area. And if they don't want a coaster that takes up a ton of space, this doesn't have to. So that is why we're going with the Intamin vertical launch. So someone said too similar to Fahrenheit. You could say that. It is within driving distance of Fahrenheit. But I don't think... I mean, it's a launch. It's a different experience. But yeah, the layout could have some similarities. So you could argue that for sure. But it's kind of a weird park. There's just a lot of variety and rides around it. So kind of hard to choose for it. But that's what I went with.
Hey, no, I applaud you for not going the easy route and just RMC and Roar.
They keep retracking it. Like, that's why, like, sorry to say they are doing that with Hurler as well. Like, they keep retracking it every off-season. They did it this off-season, significantly. So if I had, like, knowledge of something happening, I'm like, okay, that's probably off the table for now, so.
Yeah. So if any of you watching are operators at Roar or Hurler, how about you sabotage the park and just operate it like just crappy, just like try to tear up the track, because we want those things gone.
I don't know that I'd say that, but I do get it. It's like at this point, it's like, come on, something's got to change. So
yeah,
there you go.
All right. So here's a park that I have been to. Also a very small park, but arguably it could be better than Laurent if you really look at that way. Michigan's Adventures. So this park, they already have a pretty good collection of like airtime machines, like because Shivering Timbers is an obvious example, and Wolverine Wildcat did have some surprising airtime moments. So I think they're good on airtime for the moment. And if they want to be cheap about this, which I know they will, how about like Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster, kind of like Hang Time, but make it a little bit more robust and a little bit more bigger, just to, because all the drops in that park are super like gradual and kind of shallow. So I think like a straight down vertical drop really catch the eye of the public and just, make it a crowd pleaser. So I think that'd be an excellent fit. I'm not too worried about capacity because it's Michigan's Adventure. So I think this kind of fits. So.
Yeah, for sure. I do like that. Even like a Eurofighter, although I know that'd be kind of harsh, but like if it was like a really small one. But even those can be pretty solid rides. So I do like that you went with the Infinity route though to make it a little more complex of a layout. So I do like that quite a bit, and I think you're dead on with what you said about all the drops being relatively shallow. They could use something that's kind of a vertical or beyond vertical drop for sure. So I do like that. The next park we have is another park I'm getting a family coaster to, but Six Flags Discovery Kingdom Gravity Group Family Wooden Coaster. I saw Bobcat and I was like, animal themed wooden coaster. Where could that go? Discovery Kingdom. There we go. So I think that would be a really nice fit there. Also, if they could put it in somewhere, also not where like almost all the rides are, that would be great. Like somewhere where there's like more of the exhibits or near those, that'd be ideal as well. But assuming Great America's closing, there's not really going to be a wooden coaster in NorCal, so that's not going to be a problem. And I think this would be a ride that would... there's also not too many there's Joker, which has some airtime, but even as far as RMCs go, it's a little more inversion based. So this would actually be an airtime like style ride, which they don't really have right now. And it would be a good like fit because they don't currently have a wooden coaster, and here's one. Like I said, they could theme it to an animal with the front of the train. So Gravity Group Family Wooden Coaster is the one I would go with for Discovery Kingdom. So there you go.
That's pretty awesome. All right. So Six Flags Darien Lake. Haven't been to this park. Honestly, also haven't really heard a lot about this park recently. Besides the fact that Mind Eraser is terrible. So how about we get rid of Mind Eraser first and foremost, and then to replace it, I think this park could really use like an attendance boost. So that kind of made me decide for a B&M dive coaster to replace Mind Eraser. Simply because I know that's a surefire win for the general public, and that will bring a lot of people into the door. I know it might not be like the most thrilling ride out there, or like the one that most coaster enthusiasts want, but I think if they can give a boost in attendance with this coaster, some more better roller coasters could come later on. So this would be the kind of start of a new era, pretty much.
Yeah, I definitely like it. And although I'm trying to think, how far is Darien Lake from Wonderland? That might be the only problem because yeah, that's and possibly
I forgot how
Dorney.
close Canada is to that park.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
So,
know it's not
maybe-
something you would think of.
How about a launched B&M dive coaster?
Launch B&M
know
dive
why.
coaster.
Yeah, launch B&M. That'd be so funny. Just think about that. Be a maintenance nightmare too.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen clips of, and I hope it whenever I go to SeaWorld San Diego this happens. There have been some clips that I've seen of Emperor where the holding brake does not hit, but there's riders on it, and so they just go down the first drop, and it's like I can't even. I mean, that would be insane. I'm not even a dive coaster
That'd be a
fan,
gut punch.
but I mean, I would. I'm hoping that I get a ride like that. That'd be so amazing. But I know it's pretty rare, so but not quite a launch B&M dive, but like that's about the closest you'll probably get is if somehow the holding brake doesn't engage. So I think Canopy Coaster actually has some footage of Emperor not hitting because he said he saw it and there was some footage that he had that showed that. So that's pretty crazy.
Trimless Emperor.
Just publicly melting down Mind Eraser would be a great gift to park goers. Wow. I'm sure a lot of people would agree there, so can't complain about that one. Alrighty, so the next one I have is Six Flags Fiesta Texas. I went with another weird addition here. So they have a kind of opening in their kind of quarry wall area. Obviously, they've gotten some big investments in the past, but I think they could use a hyper-style coaster, but, you know, there's some coasters in the area that are already kind of like that. You have Steel Eel. A lot further away, you've got Titan at Six Flags over Texas. So how do we get a ride that has something that's different? And there's two manufacturers I would think of to go to here, maybe even three, but we're going to go and try out a manufacturer who has been doing really well with their projects pretty much everywhere in recent years. And we're going to go with Vekoma to give us their first ever hypercoaster. They proposed a layout for Hyperion, which looked quite good. It just ultimately isn't what the park went with, but you can look back at it. And I think from that, I had seen enough that, okay, I think they could legitimately build a really nice hypercoaster that could also have some pretty tight elements as well, which may be needed. Intamin could also do it, but I wanted to do something a little more unique because I think an Intamin like Mega or hypercoaster would also fit really well. So if you wanted to say that here, I could definitely see that as well. But I decided to go with Vekoma to make it a little more interesting. Because I do believe that they could legitimately do a really good job. It's just they haven't been given the opportunity yet. So, yeah, that's my pick there.
All right, so my next one's a little difficult because it's a Six Flags Great Adventure. So they are getting that family. Is it called like a boomerang? I can't remember,
Super
but like
boomerang.
it's
So,
super boomerang. That's it. Yeah. So that's kind of like a thrill ride coaster, kind of a thrill coaster, right? So,
yep.
uh, I'm gonna take. It's kind of hard for this park because they have a lot of just really good roller coasters that kind of check all the boxes for me. So I think I'm gonna take a page out of Dollywood's book and put in, what's it called? As Vekoma Family Launch Coaster. Is that
Vekoma
what it's
family
called?
launch. Yep, there we go. Yep, that's
Yeah, for
what it's
Big Bear
called.
Mountain. Yeah,
All
I'm thinking
right.
something like that because, obviously, like they can maybe get like a good deal with Vekoma because they've worked with them in the past with the Super Boomerang. They could probably get like a discount perhaps on this new roller coaster. Uh, and the only reason why I picked this one specifically was because the trains are super long, so capacity will not be an issue. Whereas the Super Boomerang they're putting in, capacity could be an issue with that one. So we kind of need to balance the crowds a little bit and just put in like a good family coaster. So I think something like that would be kind of fun.
For sure. No, I do like that quite a bit. And I definitely think this would be a really good fit at Great Adventure, just because they have so many throwing coasters, and something like this would be really nice. It depending if they were not going too crazy on the theming. I don't know how expensive it would be because Big Bear Mountain was really expensive, but a lot of that I think was like theming, onboard soundtrack, and audio, which
Yeah.
realistically is not something that Great Adventure would necessarily do. But I think you're right. It would be a great coaster. I also saw Civilian Satellite setting out. Thank you for checking out the stream. But no, I think this is a very nice idea. And actually, coincidentally, I have Six Flags Great Escape. Now, I was thinking of a much smaller scale, but I actually did have the same model of the Vekoma family launch because that park is very much um, like appealing to families. But I was thinking more of for those of you who've seen Lightning at Fruvik, it's a much smaller Vekoma family launch coaster. Actually goes through the layout twice. It's that small. It's like less than 2,000 feet long. I was thinking something like that for Great Escape because it'd be a lot cheaper, and I don't think that park. I don't know so much about it, but I don't think the lower capacity would be that big of an issue. Um, so that's the one I would go with because they don't have a launch coaster either, from what I recall. So I think it'd be a good fit there.
All right. So I got Six Flags Great America next, and I've been to this park. Really good park. Really good coaster collection. Really fills all the gaps. But so I think with saying that though, I think the only thing that I can think of in my mind is this might be just surface level, and I think a lot of people might say the same thing. But I'm gonna pull out the whole B&M Giga card for this one. So I know that Orion and Millennium Force aren't too far away, but like I think this one would focus on speed and like quick airtime, like floater airtime moments, as opposed to like just big, huge elements. I think B&M could do something really interesting with this one because there's not really a whole lot of land to work with um, for this park, so they could have like a drop where it kind of starts out straight, and like the last second it kind of turns to the right or something, just like a quick swoop down, and just I think it would look really cool. And just have it go like alongside the park, just kind of just dance around, just like really showcase the speed of the ride, just I think that'd be a good fit for this park. So
Yeah, I think like a Giga coaster that's super speed based would be good. B&M would be, based off what you described, a little bit of a weird fit because that's not the type of coaster they usually do, especially like something that doesn't have
yeah,
a straight drop. But then you run into the if you go Fintamin, it's like, oh, it's too similar to Millennium Force, which is even closer.
yeah.
To my
Well,
well,
one option could be Vekoma doing this. I don't know if Vekoma does gigas, but if they want to try, sure.
yeah, I mean, I would have no idea. I mean, I imagine they would probably want to do a hyper first, um, but yeah, no, I can definitely see where you're coming from, because it would also give them that hyper giga duo that like a lot of the other, especially now that they're within the same chain, the new Six Flags parks have. So that would definitely be very interesting to see. And I think they could do something that makes it different enough that it could stand out. So, yeah, okay, that one is a good one for sure. The next one that we have is Six Flags Magic Mountain. I mean, you already know what I've said. All of you watching know that I have said this would be a really good fit for this park. A lot of people had been saying for years they needed a dive coaster. Well, Hang Time was built, which isn't really a dive coaster, but they advertised it as one. And then Emperor was built, and that's an actual dive coaster. So it's like, I think they got to do something a little different at this point. I think the Vekoma Tilt is the way to go. The only concern here is hopefully we don't really know what the capacity for this would look like with the newer models, but I have heard that Gravity Max has some really slow dispatches and operations, so hopefully it doesn't fall victim to the same issues. But I'm not going to go too much into this. I think it'd be a good fit for the park, and I've talked about it previously, so I'll just end it there. Next, you have
Okay.
Six Flags New England.
Dude. Okay, so I thought long and hard about this one before the stream because I don't know. I'm going back to the whole drama with Goliath and the boomerang they have like right next to each other. So they removed Goliath, right? So I just kind of want to get rid of the other boomerang too because those are just old ride models. They're everywhere, so I just want to get rid of a clone. So and then in its place put a Vekoma Super Boomerang. So kind of pay homage to both Goliath and the original Boomerang, but also have it be like a little more of a unique layout and have it go over the pathway crossing between the two plots of land. Just kind of like a nice little visual piece there. So that's what I came up with. I think people have better ideas out there, but that's what I can see with this park.
I do find it. I think I have seen somewhere it be suggested. I do think it's a pretty funny idea, just because it's like and fitting because like it's the two boomerangs and now it goes over both the plots. So I think that's kind of neat about it. And I definitely think it'd be a nice ride to see for sure. There. My only thing is it might be too similar where people are like, kind of weird that you replace these two coasters for another one, another shuttle coaster. But might as well add a kitty boomerang too. Do the duo, but modernize. Now just become a family boomerang, the super boomerang. That'd actually be hilarious.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
That would be so good, but no, I mean, yeah, I think it'd be a pretty cool fit, at least like for the reason that I'd be replacing the two boomerangs with a new updated one, so I like that. Already next, we have Six Flags Mexico, and I've said I'm not a fan of this model, and it kind of pained me to put this on here, but for this specific park, I think it's a good fit, because similar to what you said about Michigan's Adventure, a lot of these coasters are shallow drops or just drops that aren't like super steep. So my thinking here, and also I want a coaster that's really eye-catching, that would go viral and be different from what's in the country. And so I decided to go with a B&M dive for Six Flags Mexico. Also, this is a park that is actually sneakily, a lot of people don't know this, but makes sense because it's in Mexico City. I've looked at the numbers. It's one of the higher attended Six Flags parks, so makes sense because it's in a super populated city. Yeah, it's like it's usually up there with like Great Adventure, Magic Mountain, and Great America. It's usually like right in there with those other three in terms of attendance.
That's crazy.
From some of the numbers I saw. So yeah, no, it would surprise a lot of people, but so I do think we need something with good capacity, and it does have a longer season. Yeah, it is basically open year round, so that also does help with it. Yeah, I think a B&M dive would be a very good fit for the park. for all the reasons I mentioned. So that's why I went with it.
I agree. That actually fits a lot better than I initially thought when you first said it. So good. That's very good. Let's see, Six Flags Over Texas. So shout out to JB Thrills. He's the mastermind behind everything. And I'm pretty sure he has probably predicted this one in the past for this park. But I know they have Texas Giant, but I think an RMC Raptor in the same style as like Wonder Woman at Magic Mountain would be a good fit for this park because just having that airtime machine. I know a Texas Giant exists, but adding inversions to it, having some camelback hills, kind of like a B&M Hyper. They're also lacking something like that too because their Hyper Coaster is a Giovanola and focuses more on turning than anything. So I think RMC Raptor I think that'd be an excellent fit. It's super skinny too. It can fit on a super skinny plot of land. It can dance around some other coasters too. So I don't know. I could definitely see that. So
That's fair. It's an interesting one because for not being that far from Fiesta, Texas, Over Texas already has some overlap, and so this would continue it because they both have RMC hybrids. They both have, granted, very different, but premier launch coasters. And then now, in this case, they would have RMC Raptors, but they're very different stylistically, which is what matters. So,
I mean, hey, California has like 3 of them, right? No,
yeah,
2.
okay. Well, two Raptors. Discovery Kingdom to Magic Mountain is like really far. Like it's no like Over Texas to Fiesta, Texas is like a lot closer.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure it's like a 7 to 8 hour drive from Magic Mountain to Discovery Kingdom, so it doesn't really matter that much. But even still, like because it's a larger scale one, it wouldn't. I think it'd be a very fine fit here. So no, I like it for sure. Larger scale RMC Raptor. So next, I have Six Flags Over Georgia, and for those of you wondering, these will be the last. We each have the last two left, 4 in total. But for Over Georgia, I also have an Intamin vertical launch coaster. Now, yes, they finally solved their launch coaster crisis. They are getting the Ultra Surf. That's great. I want a coaster with a little bit more of a layout that also can be relatively compact because it's a little tricky from what I saw to find exactly where it would be put. But I think this is something that could work. And I don't think there's really anything nearby that's a whole lot like it, anywhere even remotely close. So, I mean, like, I guess there's an Intamin launch coaster, Velocicoaster, like in Orlando, but that's pretty far ways away, and this is a lot different. So I think it'd be a really nice addition for Over Georgia. So that's my pick there. And then we go to your home park, Micah. What do you got for Valley Fair?
Yes. All right. So most of you probably know what's coming, but yes, it's going to be a B&M invert. Very similar to Banshee, but we'll make it better. Don't worry. We'll make it better. We'll find ways to do that. So that's an obvious pick because like it's been rumored for so long. Even the GP at Valley Fair know that people want an invert, so they want an invert too. So like I think Valley Fair kind of feels that pressure, you know. So I mean, people will say that there is some activity going on in the old Dinosaurs Alive section of the park. There's some activity going on. Of course, there was Monster Jam Thunder Alley a couple years ago, so they tore up that part of the park to put those stuff in. But I mean, I think I feel like they did that on purpose to clear land for future expansion. So I think a B&M invert is coming very soon. It could be 2025. I wouldn't doubt it because when Cedar Fair, or in the past, when Cedar Fair would invest in the smaller parks, they would do all 3 of them like in 3 years, you know, just like get them all over with and then focus on the bigger parks after that. So it could be 2025. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 2026, though, because that'll be the park's 50th anniversary. Mm-hmm. So within those 2 years, I can definitely see a B&M invert coming to this park pretty well. So that's all I got.
Yep. I mean, you've mentioned in the past, and I definitely think it would be a good fit there. Definitely much needed, and it'll be interesting because I imagine that their coaster will be pretty close to along these lines in terms of what they actually get. Probably something from B&M regardless, but hopefully an invert. Will be interesting to see if it'll be 2025 or 26. So, I mean, yeah, will be obviously awesome when it happens because it's been so long. So,
Yeah, almost 20 years. We're
yep,
coming up on it. So
that is wild. So happy that that is hopefully going to be coming soon. So or something like it. So there we go. So the next one, I have Six Flags St. Louis, and look, I know this is one where it's like there's an obvious candidate that I have very mixed feelings about in terms of if it actually happens, in terms of RMC boss. Um, and I didn't pick it because I just I I have very mixed opinions on it, and I've heard mixed things on if it's actually in the pipeline or not. So I decided to take a different route. There is a ride that I do want to replace though, and that is Ninja because I've heard it is absolutely terrible. So,
yep.
and it's a weird ride. It's like partially manufactured by Arrow and Vekoma. Like I don't know what the status of it is, like how much ridership it gets, but it just it's kind of an ugly looking coaster. Also, I must say. So I just want that thing out of there. Get rid of it. I'm sure a lot of people will be happy. Maybe make a burning ceremony out of it, as someone mentioned with Mind Eraser, whatever. Um, because I mean, yeah, that ride is a disaster. But that butt of land is very tight, very tiny. So there's not really a whole lot you can replace it with. So I decided to do something a little interesting. We're gonna give them a Zamperla Double Heart coaster. Now they do have Mr. Freeze, but this is not quite a shuttle coaster, so I think it's different enough. Um, and I do think, I mean, Six Flags, they have a great working relationship with Zamperla, granted mostly on the flat ride side. Cedar Fair's now working with them on the coaster side of things, so um, I think this would be a ride that could fit in that area, would be pretty eye-catching, and would be a pretty neat addition. And there's not really any Skyrocket 2s nearby either, from my recollection. So it's not that would not be an issue with this ride. So yeah, Six Flags St. Louis Imperial Double Heart is the one I went with, which leaves you with the final park we're going to talk about, which is Worlds of Fun.
Yeah, so Worlds of Fun. You see, I was really hoping when 2023, when they got their new coaster, that it was going to be some sort of launch coaster, right? Because in my opinion, that is the park's biggest gap. There is absolutely no launch coaster to be found. I know that Solar City has a few launch coasters, but I think Worlds of Fun can really do something special with this one and do a premier launch coaster. Specifically, one that's very similar to Full Throttle at Six Flags Magic Mountain. It had a huge loop to kind of make it a little more unique from all the other launch coasters in the state. Also, just maybe like extend the layout just a little bit more, just because like Worlds of Fun has so much space. It's stupid how much space they have. So just make this one like the best one they could possibly do, and I think that will really complete this park. Especially for the area that it's in. I think it'll be a great addition. It'll look so good next to Mamba. So. I think that'd be a great fit for Worlds of Fun.
For sure. And I mean, having you mentioned Full Throttle as a sort of comparison or like potential inspiration, that ride is really nice, really solid. I have not personally been to Worlds of Fun, but definitely a ride like that seems like it would do very nicely in that lineup. So I do think that is a really nice idea there. So that'll do it for our big segment. Hope you all enjoyed it. And then we're gonna move on to our final Q&A. So any last questions you have, let us know, and that'll kind of bring us to the end of the stream here once we get through those. But yeah, definitely a fun segment to like think of like all these parks to just like, what should we give them?
Yep. If we were to decide.
Yep. I definitely I will say I kind of messed up as History and Leisure said on Six Flags America. I kind of was thinking more along the lines of the Virginia parks being close, that I forgot Fahrenheit existed, and now thinking about it more, the Intamin vertical launch is not exactly a great idea. So I think most of the other ones I relatively stand by with, but that one I would have to go back to the well and kind of figure something else out. But
We got Stanford Bridge here has a question. It says, question from Micah. I'm a huge fan of Renegade from my rides in 2018, but I keep hearing that it's gotten a lot rougher since then. Would you agree that it has gotten a lot rougher? Absolutely. In fact, Renegade fell out of my top 10 recently because of its, getting a lot rougher recently. They have tried to retrack it, but like they've done a really minimal job with it. So like the only rough parts are like the valleys and the drops. Like the first drop especially. Like once you get to the bottom of that, it's just like it's just it used to be just like kind of a fun little thing that Renegade had as a little quirk back in the day, but like now it's kind of a lot rougher and has a serious bite to it. So it's still like not unbearable because of the trains definitely make it a lot more comfortable in comparison to like maybe a PTC train. But yeah, I think Renegade really needs a retracking. It's been a while since the coaster opened. Like I said, it's almost been 20 years since Renegade opened. So like it's getting older, believe it or not. So yeah, I would say definitely a lot rougher.
I think that would be a really nice thing for Valley Fair to potentially if their next coaster, maybe if it comes in 2025, they let's say it does, maybe 2026, I imagine there'd be like probably like some big event that happens for their 50th and a lot of just general improvements. I think a retrack for Renegade would be probably much appreciated for the 50th to kind of add on to that as well. Or vice versa, like if it's the coaster's the 50th, maybe Renegade a little sooner. I think that'd be nice to see for sure, based off what I've heard about it. So yeah. Gold Striker got a significant retracking within the last few years. I have not ridden it since it did, but having ridden like a few years before that, I can definitely say it was much needed. So hopefully something similar for Renegade. Let's see. What country or region do you anticipate improving the most from present in coaster quality in the next 5 to 10 years? Okay. So I'm okay. I'm actually gonna try and answer this in a few ways. In terms of one that we know, like it's really just because of all the like if you're talking present as in literally right now, even though like we know there's a lot of coasters being built there, and putting and like just looking at it from like a standpoint of like literally the coasters and park growth, just from that like objective standpoint, like Saudi Arabia is gonna probably be number one in terms of like a country improving in that quality. Like I said, just looking at it purely from like the number and like the quality of the coasters are getting, that's probably going to be number one already, since we just know of how many projects are going there. But if you want to go outside of that, that's where it gets a little tricky. But I'll let Micah, if you have any answers for this, go ahead.
I mean, you kind of hit it home. Like I totally agree with you on everything you said. And I mean, I guess if we're talking about the U.S. Specifically, what region is going to be most improving, I would say just pick any of the SeaWorld/Busch Gardens parks, because they seem really competitive now, especially with like parks in where Williamsburg and Tampa for Busch Gardens, like they're just popping off. It feels like, so. I think that's super exciting.
I actually will give I was gonna mention region of the U.S. I'm gonna say keep an eye on like the heartland, kind of not quite what most would consider Midwest, but like kind of a heartland area. I feel like, um, or maybe it's being vague, but definitely like kind of the middle-ish of the U.S. with like Oklahoma and some of the other states around there.
Oh, right, because that's like the new park's going to Oklahoma. I
If the
forgot
new
about that.
park gets built, it's a growing population in some of those areas. I think that could be somewhere where we see a lot more places because you also have Missouri's building a new park. Silver Dollar City probably will have some big plans. Worlds of Fun with Kansas City, their population has been growing a lot and they have a lot of land. Do they potentially expand quite a bit? There's potentially a lot kind of going on around there, like Missouri, Oklahoma, and even other places close by. So if you were doing U.S. regions, I'd actually probably go there. But and I mean, yeah, I think that would probably makes the most sense there. So that was kind of the region to answer that one. But country, like I'm trying to think of other ones outside of the one I mentioned. I mean, what Poland's supposed to be getting another new park, but Energylandia seems to kind of be slowing down. So I don't know if I'd go with that, but it's kind of hard to say. So I'll just kind of leave it at that.
Stanford Bridge has a few questions specifically towards me in my Minnesotanness. But by the way, I have no idea if I have a huge Minnesota accent or not, because I'm so used to hearing the Minnesota accent around here. But how do you pronounce the word bag? Bag. I don't know if I'm saying it like in a different way that people think, but I know like a lot of Minnesotans around here say bag, or like they kind of make the A sound like an E a little bit, like big, you know. But yeah, I just say bag. I've heard both so much in my life, so I really don't know. And also, he asks, what's the best Minnesota specialty food? There's a few different things. So I think for everyone out there who loves burgers, if you ever go to Minneapolis, you gotta get a Juicy Lucy. That's like they put the cheese inside the patty, so it's kind of like a stuffed cheese patty, and it's interesting, but it's actually really good. And I guess there's Tater Tot Hot Dish is like a Minnesota staple, so it's pretty good. I mean, it's very simple, very basic, but that's kind of like that's kind of Minnesota culture up here is very simple, basic foods. So that's what we like. So either of those two would be the best food around here.
Juicy Lucy is what you said the burger was called?
Yeah, Juicy Lucy. I think Valley Fair sells them somewhere in the park. So if you're at Valley Fair, you gotta get one of those.
Oh no, that sounds really good. So, no, I'm looking at pictures of it. That looks so good. So definitely would have to try that out when I'm there.
All right. Any other questions that popped up when I was? Oh nope. Okay, I'm all caught up. Just I was going back on the chat, but
Let's see. I think, someone mentioned Morgan's Wonderland. They have a park in Texas. They're building another park that they haven't revealed where it is exactly. But it probably is in that area. And yeah, I think that's all the questions for now. So I think if that's it, we'll wrap it up right here. So appreciate you, Micah, coming on. It was awesome to have you on, having been a longtime viewer of the channel, and obviously another fellow content creator. So very much appreciate it. And for anyone who hasn't, if you haven't followed North Star Coasters on YouTube or Instagram, make sure to. And Micah, if you have any last things you want to say, you go right ahead.
All right. So yeah, I just want to thank Coaster Hour again for having me on here. I've always wanted to do one of these live streams with him ever since he started doing them. So this is a real treat for me, and kind of like just like a really nice thing to do at the very end of my YouTube career. Because I think most of you already know this already, but I am planning on retiring my YouTube channel in May. So being able to get this opportunity before all of that went down, it was just really special to me, especially with Coaster Hour, because I think he was one of the very first other content creators on YouTube that I kind of became friends with on YouTube. You know, like I think we started subscribing to each other very early on in our channel's journeys. So it was definitely really cool to see his channel grow, and then also my channel to grow as well. And he's been an inspiration to me. So I'm really thankful for Coaster Hour right here, just for making YouTube kind of like just a really fun place to be for me. So thank you so much for having me on here.
Absolutely. Appreciate the kind compliments, and it was fantastic to have you on here. As you mentioned before, your channel wraps up, and best from me, and I imagine everyone else, best of luck with the future with wherever you go. I'm sure that you'll be doing great things wherever you go. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
And with that being said, to all of you, obviously for those watching, thanks for checking out the stream, and thank you all for watching. And I will see you all next time here on Coaster Hour. Alrighty, see you all.